Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 5 of Unfiltered with Nikki Dawson. I cannot believe that I'm already up to episode 5. It actually just feels like it was yesterday that I was absolutely shitting myself putting up that post saying that I've created a podcast. That is so crazy. But yeah, here we are, episode 5. Insane. But anyways, I have had a couple of people message me in the past couple of days, and I also caught up with some of my friends last night for dinner, and a few of them were like, I'm so sorry, I haven't listened to everything, but I'm getting there. And honestly, I just appreciate anybody that even thinks to listen to my podcast. I know everybody's busy with their lives, and one of my friends actually said last night, she was like, oh my God, I've been such a bad friend, I haven't listened. And I was like, don't even worry, whenever you get the chance, it's fine. But obviously I do appreciate the support, and I do really love it when people message me and they're like, loved this or whatever. It just gives me the drive to keep going, because sometimes it's hard. I'm going to be honest for a second, and well, I feel like I'm always honest, but anyway, sometimes when I look at the numbers, I'm a little bit disheartened, and I'm like, oh my God, why isn't anybody listening? Why isn't anybody engaging? I am doing the most that I've ever done on my socials. And I was saying that to my husband the other day. I was like, I'm doing everything and my engagement is actually down. And he was just like, just keep going. I also mentioned this to my friends. They're like, you just need to keep going. You look at some people that are huge now, and they all started somewhere. That's what I just keep on repeating in my head. I'm like, everybody starts somewhere, everybody starts somewhere. And even when I think about myself and where I was 5 years ago, that was at the start of me doing my master's for dietetics. Look at where I was then. Look at where I am now. So I know that I can do it. But it's just that consistency and drive to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I'm not stopping anytime soon. So yeah. But I love that everybody listens. So I'm going to do a little recap of my week so far. So my husband, he went back to work last week. I feel like every time he goes back to work, it's like a little reset. Yeah, I'm able to get my shit sorted. I'm able to get a bit more organized. I did upset him though, because as you know, we have been redoing our office space, and now we have a double standing desk setup, and obviously all of the podcasting stuff and everything is looking good. But there was a corner of the room that had my husband's drum kit in it. And I thought he wasn't using the drum kit. So I went and bought this really cute chair, and I was going to have that corner of the room as my little space. Eventually I'd have the mic over there and have a little cozy setup. So I took apart the drum kit and I've put it away. I sent him a pic of what I had done, and the man's heart broke because he was like, I was going to start doing my drum. He has an Instagram page for his drumming. He's a very, very good drummer. So impressive. I love watching him play the drums. And he was like, I was going to start doing that again and all of this. So I do have to set up the drums again so that he can do his thing. But now I'm like, I want my little chair set up. I want my little cozy space. So this is a very, very small office. I'm so bad with measurements. I couldn't even tell you how big it is. I'm not even going to try, but it's a small space, and yeah, everything just can't fit in here, but I'm going to find a spot for my chair. But anyways, I tried to do that. I failed, but we'll get there. The office will be a good space, hopefully sometime very soon. I mean, we've been in this house for like 2.5 years, and this room has always been like the dumping ground for just everything. So it's pretty impressive to see what it looks like now. I'm sure everybody has one of those rooms in their houses that is just like so unorganized. But yeah, we're getting there. Storage space is the key. I'm telling you that right now. And then my weekend was like relatively quiet, which was intentional because the weekend before I wasn't home much at all. And I was so tired by the end of it. Like, obviously, I love catching up with my friends, like love. That fills my cup. But I just needed time this weekend. And so on Saturday, I was meant to be going for my run, and I also organised to catch up with one of my friends, a little coastal walk, and I was going to get up earlier, go for my run, then go for the coastal walk, but I did not feel good when I woke up, and also I didn't wake up early enough. I didn't go to bed early enough the night before, and it was just not it. It was not happening. So then instead, that day, I trained, and then the next day I went for my run. I had a solid 8-hour sleep, and then I woke up really early, went for my run. It was so good. I felt so good on that run. So it's okay to change up your routine sometimes. It honestly did work out for the better, changing up my days. And yeah, I might be a Sunday run girly now. I'm just going to see how I feel this weekend and go from there. I really like having that flexibility with my training. I don't like having those set times. And I am quite lucky to be able to do that. Yeah, I know a lot of people kind of have to fit in around like other things going on in their life, like work and like family commitments and stuff. But I don't have any other commitments on the weekend, so I can do whatever. And then, as you guys know, I also created a YouTube channel this week, and I don't know why I didn't create a YouTube channel at the same time that I created my Spotify, because people really do like watching podcasts on YouTube, apparently. Apparently that's a thing. So I am now recording full videos of my podcast, and I'm going to put it on my YouTube. I initially only intended to put my new Reddit series where I read Reddit posts and give my 2 cents as a dietitian. I was only going to put that on YouTube. But now I'm like, well, I may as well just put everything on YouTube, because some people don't like listening to Spotify and they prefer to see a face. So if you want to see my face, then go on to YouTube. That is where you'll find me. But yeah, my new Reddit series, I love talking like openly and just talking about random stuff on my podcast, but reading questions and answering them is so much fun. I honestly really enjoy it. So I hope that people do learn a bit from it. It's not going to be super specific advice, but I think for like general population, it is quite good. So yeah, get on to listening to those Reddit episodes. I like them personally, but maybe I'm a little bit biased because obviously it's me. But yeah, and then also I did break my promise to myself that I made at the end of last year, that I was not going to shop as much. But on Saturday, I did break that promise to myself, and I went into Velocity in Karrinyup and I tried on some shorts that I really wanted to try on. And I haven't ever tried on these shorts before. They're like the new Signature Scrunch minis. Oh my God. I'm obsessed. I just want to wear these all the time. I thought that I really liked the Silhouette collection, but these, oh my God, they just fit so well. I love the fabric. Like, they're amazing. So I bought 3 pairs of shorts, and then I also bought a new little bralette as well in the oat color, which is my color. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I would say my shopping previously was like daily or every second day. So not ideal. Something else that I've been looking at is like all of my analytics for socials. And I did briefly touch on before that my engagement hasn't been as good, but I think like you really just have to like push through these times. And I know exactly why my engagement has dropped off. My content is changing. So previously I was posting a lot of just random stuff, and it was a lot of just like me, my body, also a lot of like my ass as well. And we know people love that stuff. That is what gets the views. And I would say my views previously were in the like thousands on my like posts, but now they're definitely dropping, sometimes even below 1,000. But my engagement, okay, so views and engagement, I probably should, it's not the same thing. I don't know why I said my engagement is low, because like people liking and also like clicking on external links and things, that has increased. And also like profile views and follows has increased a little bit. But yeah, the views are definitely down, but I just need to push through this time. Can get you down sometimes. I need to not focus on these things really. I've spent a lot of time in my office lately, and this is one thing. I wrote down this week my self-care commitment. I usually don't write stuff like this down because I'm not really like that, but I wanted to implement saying no and having more boundaries. So last week, one of my old friends was messaging me, and we haven't caught up in a very, very long time. And she has been trying to catch up for a while. And obviously I don't work every single day. I work 2 days at the hospital, 1 day private practice, 2 days I have off, but now I'm actually setting my work days for myself. So she said to me, hey, can we catch up on Monday? And I had messaged her back and I said, sorry, I can't catch up. I'm working all day. Best time to catch up would be the weekend. And weekends don't work so well for her. But anyway, she messaged me back and said, oh, I thought that you had this day and this day off. So I just messaged back and I said, I'm working for myself on these days now. And that was my boundary. I am setting times to focus and prioritize my business, and I need to really implement that. And she was just like, oh, okay. So nothing else really came of that. I didn't message back. She did also say, like, that's exciting, but I didn't message back to say, like, is there any other time that you can catch up or blah, 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 because I had already said that weekends were better for me. And she still said, like, let's catch up on a weekday. So if you're not going to make any other suggestions to catch up on the weekend, then I'm not going to make any other suggestions either. So it was just left at that, and I feel quite content with that. So yeah, that was one thing that I was like, nah, I'm putting my boundary in with that, and I'm not going to alter my commitment to my business. So yeah, I was very proud of myself. So I did a little, you guys know I like ticky boxes. Anybody watching on YouTube, I did 2 ticks because there was also another occasion that I did say no and put in my boundaries. So yeah, that made me feel really good. Also, something else that I wrote down was organize my first guest on the podcast, which I do want it to be my husband, but he was being so annoying last time when we were doing a practice run, and I just hope that he is not as annoying this time. So when he's back from site, we'll see. I need to come up with a topic to talk to him about. Like, he's got a lot to talk about. He is very switched on with a lot of things. So I might just pick a couple of things and we can chat about that. Okay. So what I really wanted to talk about today, a conversation yesterday at the gym really sparked this for me. I've been thinking about it a lot, but yeah, I was talking to one of my friends and I had made a comment and they were like, oh, it sounds like body dysmorphia. And I was like, no, I don't have body dysmorphia. And I was like, I'm not talking about my body in a negative way. Like, it's not really like that. So basically, everybody has the impression that when you look a certain way is that you have some sort of like emotional attachment to your appearance. And that is no longer the case for me. So it has taken me a very, very long time to really detach any sort of emotion to my physical appearance. So previously, I would look at my body and I would be upset with what I saw in the mirror. I wouldn't be happy with a certain area on my body and I would get upset about that. Now, I'm quite neutral. I could look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I don't feel anything. I literally don't. And I know like people like are probably like, what do you want about? You take so many pictures of your body, like you work so hard at the gym, like you eat well, blah, blah, blah. Like obviously you care what you look like. Not really, no. And it's because I've done so much work to get away from feeling a certain way about my appearance. So from a very, very, let's start from scratch. So from a very, very young age, people focused on my appearance. And same with my sister. So we were both blonde, slim frame, pretty, blue eyes. My sister and I did always receive a lot of attention because of our appearance growing up. And I would say that my parents definitely did put a huge focus on the way that we presented ourselves, the way that we looked. And they liked that people would often comment like that your kids are really pretty or whatever it was. And so then going into my teenage years, of course, as a teenager, you're comparing yourself to everyone, anyone, your peers, celebrities, who you're seeing on social media. And back when I was a teenager, we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have what we do now in terms of like TikTok and everything. So it definitely wasn't as bad back then, but still, we were looking at celebrities and wanting to look a certain way. So I did have a complex with my appearance because I did carry a little bit of extra body fat when I was probably about like 12, 13 years old and going into high school. I did lose a lot of weight in a short period of time, and this was due to unhealthy habits and restrictive eating, over exercising. So I was quite thin and I had a lot of disordered eating behaviors as well. I would say I probably would be classified as having anorexia back then, and then it went into probably like anorexia with purging. And I was like this for a very, very long time. I would say years, like probably like a couple of years. And then eventually, recovered. I never had any sort of help from health professionals because I felt that I couldn't talk to my parents at that time. They were really prioritized with a lot of other things that were going on in their lives. And I didn't have that relationship with them where I could go to them and say, hey, this is an issue for me. Like, I think I need help. And also I didn't quite understand, like I didn't think that it was an issue because I was so focused on my appearance. I didn't care what I was doing to my body. As long as I was looking a certain way, that was my main priority. I didn't care about my health. But to be fair, I didn't actually have the knowledge back then. So I lived with a lot of disordered eating behaviors for years and years. And it was really only when I started having more of an interest in nutrition and I also started going to the gym that I sort of started looking into what I could do to optimize my health a little bit and be a little bit healthier. So I started changing my ways a bit. I was still very much focused on my appearance, and it was very hard to come away from that because that's all I knew. Like, what else was I focusing on? So anyway, I was training, I was eating, I actually was eating, but it was very obsessive eating behaviors. I think the disordered eating, it definitely transformed into more obsessive eating behaviors where I was eating very lean foods. I would do all these crazy things, like I would activate nuts and all this random stuff. I would only eat whole foods. I would never touch any processed foods. So yeah, very different to what I'm like now. So that was my approach to diet back then. And okay, so still very focused on my appearance. When I started studying, things started changing a bit. So obviously learning more about nutrition and changing my ways because now I had a bit of knowledge behind me, and also obviously the science base. I was like, oh, that makes sense to me. So I don't need to demonize these foods and blah, blah, blah. But I was also working on how I was treating myself as well. So I didn't respect myself. I didn't respect my body because of everything I was putting myself through. So I used to be a morning gym girly. And if I didn't wake up early enough to go to the gym, like I would be beating myself up like all day because I didn't go. And I was so scared that I was going to lose like all of the gains that I'd made and that my body was going to change. So I was very obsessive with the gym as well. And then I also was not in a good place in my relationship. So previously, before meeting my now husband, I was in a long-term relationship, and that person was not my person. He was not good for me, and he was not good for my mental health. I think I really became quite obsessive with the gym and also my eating when we were at low points in our relationship, and I just absolutely locked in, and I was so obsessed, and I would go to the gym a lot more. I also did a lot of cardio outside of the gym. So I would go to Jacob's Ladder like once a week, and I would often go for walks and things. So I was very focused on all of that, and I was definitely over exercising at that time as well, because I was trying to escape the reality that I was in. And doing all of that, my main goal and focus was to look a certain way. So yeah, but then that relationship ended, and obviously met my now husband Shane, and we are completely different. Like, he is a very supportive person. He has always supported me through all of my issues that I've had, like with my body image and everything. So I really, really worked hard to overcome any sort of issues that I had with my body, and looking at my body in a certain way and fixating on that. It didn't happen overnight. Absolutely didn't happen overnight. And I would say probably in the past year or so is when I've I truly can say I'm in a good place. I really, really am. And that's kind of sad, because I'm 34 years old. Like, this all started when I was about 12. So how many years is that? That's like over 20 years of treating my body in a way that it shouldn't have been treated. And also my mind as well, like always being fixated and also attaching emotion to that as well. Anyways, so over the years, being with somebody like my husband, Shane, who is super supportive of everything, and he is not focused on my appearance much at all. I would say a lot of other men are, definitely, because they don't know anything about me. My husband knows me inside out. He knows everything about my life. He knows everything, like my personality, whatever. And to be fair, he likes all of those other things over how I look. And that is how it should be. Like, I'm sure that he probably does look at my body and he's like, oh no, one thing actually that he does like, he loves my back. I love my back. I love everything about my body. So that's one thing that he often will comment on, is that I have a nice back. But otherwise, he's not looking at me and being like, the main thing I love about you is the way you look. Because I have so many other qualities that definitely outshine my appearance. My appearance does not define me, even though obviously it is the first thing you see. It does not define me. And I think that's why I really am pushing so much to do this podcast and put myself out there, because I am showing more of my personality on here. And it's not just what you see. Absolutely not. But I feel like I've gone on a tangent. Sorry. But I guess something that I really talk about a lot is priorities. And recently, with my training and nutrition, it has definitely been to support my training. And I really, really want to get strong. That is my main focus. I want to be a strong girly. I don't want people to look at my body and be like, damn, her ass looks good. You're really devaluing me, because that's not all it is. I train hard. Oh, how long was my calorie surplus again? I'm pretty sure it was like 4 months. Now I can't even remember. I've tried to blur that out, because it was hard work to eat 3,000 calories a day. But that's what I put into it. I was in that calorie surplus for that long and I was training really hard. I still train really hard. I train with a lot of intensity, and that's what matters to me. And obviously, I do look a certain way, but it's because I'm strong. And I don't want to attach any emotion to what I look like. I mean, yesterday when I was at the gym, the reason that things came up in conversation with one of my friends is because I put on a tan the night before. And when you put on a tan, you know that you're going to look a little bit more pumped. I had a lot of carbs pre-training, so my muscles were looking very full. The day before, not so much. I was looking a bit more flat, and obviously I didn't have a tan on. And so I said to my friend, I was like, I'm looking very jacked today. And I was like, oh, yesterday I really wasn't. And he was like, sounds like body dysmorphia. And I said, no, I don't have body dysmorphia. I'm quite happy with my body. And it's like, it's just an observation. And for me, I think like when I look at my body, I'm like, okay, yes, I do look a little bit fuller today, and it's because of X, Y, Z. I do think about it, and it's not in like an obsessive way. It's like, oh, why do I look a bit fuller today compared to the other day? What changed really? And it can always be explained by what you're eating, how you trained. So that particular day when I was looking jacked, so like I mentioned, I had a lot of carbohydrates pre-training, and that's why I looked so full. The previous day, I also had carbohydrates, but my diet intake prior to that wasn't consistent throughout the day. And I did have a lot of catching up to do that night in terms of my diet intake. So yeah, very different. And also fluid intake as well. I didn't drink that much water the day before. So also, yeah, I wasn't very well hydrated. Also, I didn't have a tan on. That was the major thing as well. But all in all, I didn't look at myself and say, oh, I wasn't looking as jacked the day before. Like, not happy about that. It's just an observation for me. And I do like to be quite objective. I don't want to bring so much emotion into it because I have already spent over 20 years. That makes me sound really old, but 20 years obsessing about my body and caring so much about what I looked like. To be honest, I'm actually so over it. I actually do not care, but I will take a lot of body pics. I want to take these photos. It does not mean that I'm like obsessed with my appearance, because I'm not. It honestly has taken a lot of work about all of my complexities around my body image. It has definitely been a huge shift in my mindset and being a bit more positive about things, changing the priorities. So people will still think, they'll be like, yeah, but Nikki, you wear like this active wear. And you know what? I wear that stuff because I actually don't care. I do not care what people are thinking. People objectifying me because of my appearance absolutely makes my blood boil. And I don't think I've talked about this before, and I really do try to block it out. Also, touching back on the content that I'm posting, I really don't want to put that focus on my body too much because it does seem like I am objectifying myself, which is not really something that I intend to do. And yeah, I don't want that kind of audience. I really, really don't. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with posting what people do, but I think I have put in a lot of work to overcome some of the things that I've been through with my body. It has taken me a very long time to get to this stage, and I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I made it, because a lot of people don't. I don't work with people that have eating disorders, but I do have friends that do. And they meet people that are in their 60s and have had disordered eating and body image issues for like 50 years. Can you imagine that? That is crazy. So like, I think that I'm very lucky to have come past that and been able to work through that. So yeah, here I am. I hope that everybody has found this interesting, and it probably isn't what you would expect from me, considering the things that I do post on social media. But anyway, you'll hear me on my Reddit series very, very soon. Bye, guys.